Welcome, everybody, to the Creators Table podcast. This is episode 11, and I am joined here with Mauldin Skates. Mauldin is a young, passionate animator, character designer, writer, and a comic artist. He runs a webcomic called More. How would you pronounce it? I don't want to mess it up.
More Lydia.
More Lydia. He runs a webcomic called More Lydia, a fantasy, mystery, adventure comic about two young boys in the fantasy world of More Lydia with Gravity Falls as storytelling. He also makes animatics for his Instagram and YouTube with characters. How you doing today, Malden?
I'm doing good. How are you, Tyler?
I'm not doing too bad, It's so tell me a bit about tell me a bit more about like your comic, your web comic. Let's start with that.
Yeah. All right. So my comics targeted towards all ages, and it's basically just about two young boys named Din and Pablo who
Mhm.
just go on adventures every day in a big fantasy world. Din's the more he's like a anxiety teen who's also very kind-hearted, and Pablo's the very daring, fearless
Yeah.
11-year-old kid who
Okay.
just likes doing whatever.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
And it's just a lot of wacky adventures and stuff. The comics got 3 chapters right now, but chapter 3 is still posting pages at the moment.
Mhm.
But
I gotcha.
there's still a lot of content and stuff with the comic,
Mhm.
and it's a year old at this point too.
Give us kind of like a broad description of what you do, basically.
What I like to do, I like character design. I feel like I always have loved making characters, but along with that, I just love storytelling. So
Yeah.
whenever I make a character, I always have a story to go along with that character.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
or I always find a way to uh, whenever I make a character, I do always imagine what uh world they are a part of,
Okay.
where they would fit
Yeah.
into their lore and everything.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Kind
And
of like.
then of course
Oh no. Go ahead. Go
you're gonna
ahead.
say
Sorry.
yeah, and then I like making short animatics for my socials
Mhm.
that are just fun scenarios with different audios for the characters and
Okay.
everything. And it'll work with that character's personality. It doesn't matter uh what the audio is. It could be a male audio, but
Mhm.
it could have a female character. But if it still
Yeah.
works with that character, it's all right.
Yeah. Kind of
But
doing these different trends and stuff like that, like on Instagram and TikTok and
yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
Okay.
Basically, I just do that to flesh out my characters and for my audience to get to know them and everything.
Yeah. Kind of grow attached to the characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the thing is, uh, Morlydia has a page a week, so obviously there's going to be downtime throughout that week. So
Mhm.
especially on hiatus. So obviously to keep the viewers engaged and readers and stuff engaged and all that, I definitely like to keep those characters doing weird stuff and wacky things because that's just
Mhm.
what they do.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. No. I definitely understand that. Did you what's kind of the end goal of your actually we'll save that question for later. So you said you upload about like page a week for these comics and it's a web comic. So how and you said you've been doing this for a year?
I started it January 19th. So this was uh second semester of my freshman year. I I
Okay.
re- before that I just really wanted to make my own story, and I wanted to get it out there and
Mm.
just not have to wait for me to be older to do this. So I just wanted to do it. So I just
Yeah.
once I had couple pages, I just posted them, and then it's been like uphill from there.
Consistently every week?
Yep,
How,
I do it every week. Of course, after a chapter, there will be some downtime before the next one. But
mm.
I remember after chapter one finished, I went like on hiatus basically the entire summer until
Hmm.
like it started up again. But
Hmm.
um, between chapters two and three, there was a month-long hiatus, so it
Yeah.
wasn't that long.
What would you say then? How long would you say it takes you to do one of these pages then? If you're doing them once a week?
It used it used to take me like an hour to, of course, like first what I'll do is I'll write out the page in
Hmm.
advance. And
Yeah.
like what I'll do, I'll write out like chapters in advance. Like right now I'm like writing chapter 10 at the moment. Um
Okay. Yeah.
but I'm on chapter 3.
Hmm.
But first before I put anything on paper or anything, I have to
Yeah.
write it and stuff.
Yeah.
So after I write it, I then board out the pages, and then I do the whole process I have with like the line art, the sketches, the
Hmm.
coloring, the compositing, and everything. And then it used to take me about like an hour to do all that, but now it takes me about 3 hours because the art in the
Oh
comic
yeah.
has got a lot more involved.
Hmm.
And I think that's a good thing because the comic should be evolving. It should, because like the art in the beginning definitely, I look back and kind of cringe at it.
Yeah.
But now when I but like now like the comic is like I'm so like happy with how it is right now with its art and everything.
So would you
So
say? Do you think your end goal is to print this as like an actual hard copy comic book
one day, I
someday?
would definitely like to print it one day. At the
Yeah.
moment, I want to get I want to have like a couple more chapters before
Hmm.
I print it in the future.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I get that.
um, right now, right like the comic's supposed to be long. I
Hmm.
It's not supposed to be just like, oh, it's 10 chapters and it's done. No,
Yeah.
it's very involved. It's like a multi it's like a multi-season cartoon basically.
Hmm.
Is how I usually describe it when people ask me like, "Oh, how long is Morlidia gonna be?" And I'm just like, long.
Yeah.
It's
As
very
long as it
long.
needs to be.
Yeah. And like right now I have like 40 plus chapters planned.
Hmm. Well, you know
So
what's good about this though is like, okay, so if you're doing, are you doing each page like in color, like fully like animated, or not like fully drawn, or are you just kind of doing like sketches, kind of?
it's fully done. It's all composited and everything, like colored.
Yeah, yeah.
So I honestly, and this is like no disrespect to like anyone who does black and white comics out there,
Mm,
because there are some really beautiful black and white comics that
mm,
have no color. Um, but honestly, like I just think color is such a great way to convey a story and emotion.
yeah, yeah.
So that's why I like to use it. I
Mm,
like taking advantage of lighting and everything,
yeah,
and I feel like color is a good way to do that.
yeah,
Especially if you can tell a lot of what a character is by their color.
yeah. I was that kind
Like,
of.
um,
Go ahead.
like
Sorry.
Din's main color is blue because of his hoodie and everything,
Hmm.
and like blue is a very loyal, and like it gives off a very calm feeling, like a
Yeah,
very safe feeling, and that works with his character. Same for Pablo. Pablo is red, and red's usually like very daring, very energetic and stuff,
yeah.
which fits his character. So like I want to find colors that fit the character
Of course.
in the world.
Yeah,
At
it's
the same
not
time, I
very
don't
easy.
want it. I don't want the whole like cast looking like. And this is an issue I have for like some like series out there. Is like there's be a cool cast with some characters, but like they'll have such a similar color scheme
Yeah.
and similar personalities, and that's an issue, and it just clashes with the color scheme and everything. And I like how there is a certain color scheme, but at the same time I like having I like getting to use all the colors at my
Yeah.
disposal.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely get
So
that.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess that was gonna make me. I guess that made me wonder if like it made me wonder like would you ever? I mean, I know this is like a lot more of a big challenge because I know you're even saying there's gonna be like 40 chapters. Would you ever think about like trying to animate it and like making it into episodes and stuff?
Okay. I definitely okay. Here's the thing. Before I made it into a comic, I saw it as this animated thing, and I feel like that's what most comic like creators out there think is like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this thing was all
Yeah,
animated and stuff?
yeah, yeah. Who
And
wouldn't? I mean,
I definitely imagine that, and I definitely would love to see an animated adaptation in the future. And here's the thing: if Morlidia was made into an animated adaptation, I would want it to be like a musical
hmm
too,
yeah,
not kind of like how Steven Universe and Adventure Time have songs in some of their episodes.
yeah,
Not like every single episode though,
hmm
you know.
yeah, exactly. So it's not quite not.
But
I wouldn't necessarily say really a musical, but like yeah, it's very. I don't know. I know. There's definitely a vibe there.
I want music elements in the
Exactly.
story. And that's not something I can really put in a comic. You can have music in a comic, but it's like
hmm
not but songs are kind of hard. So I don't so if I would definitely want to get it animated one day if that answers your question
Yeah.
because
That.
but here's the thing, like that'll take a very long time to do. Like at the
Yes.
moment, Uh, there's a series right now called Lackadaisy on YouTube,
hmm
and that comic's been like around since like the 2000s, and like just like I think it was like a couple years ago, it just launched its pilot episode,
hmm
and it's just working on its season one right now. So it takes a while to make an animated series, and plus you need like a full team. And not to
Yeah.
say you can't do it by yourself, but it definitely takes a while.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You need a, and that's where community comes into play. In some ways, you have to have
Exactly,
people
exactly.
dedicated, but you said something like about music.
Yeah,
I'm like, well, you meet somebody on here who's got a on social media who's making music and looking for an opportunity. So you know,
yeah.
yeah. I think I definitely, if you ever make it into comic book form, I'll definitely get a copy for sure. I think that's really cool. That's one of those things like I always like I really think about different things like there's a lot of things I would like to do, but I don't necessarily have any way of doing it or any idea for it. Like I would love to make a movie. I don't know what it would be about. I would love to make an album. I don't know what it would be. I would love to make an animation, comic book, a regular book. I would love to do all this stuff. Um, but it's
But
kind
you
of
gotta know, like, but like, here's the thing, like, and I feel like you know this too, because like with anything like that, it'll take like a lot of time and effort, and you need
yeah,
to like have discipline with it,
exactly,
because
yeah,
you need like people will think like, oh, I don't want to make an animated series because it's too hard or something, so I'm gonna make a comic and stuff. I'm gonna make a cool web comic instead.
mm,
And I don't think what some people realize is like web comics still take a while, especially for like people who are just artists and like don't aren't interested in the writing. They'll give up immediately when they realize that it's not just pictures. You aren't just doing beautiful drawings. While that
mm,
is a part of it, you also need to have a good ability in writing and storytelling.
yeah. No, of course, absolutely. I would completely agree. I mean, you still have it still takes time. Maybe you're not going frame by frame and stuff like that, but you're still having to do a lot of drawing and making sure you portray certain scenes the right way because now you've only got one frame to portray um, kind of an action or something like that or a certain
And here's the
mood
thing
or emotion.
with comics, like they're animation can definitely convey a lot
Mm-hmm.
with in more than comics, but there is a way where like you can have animation in comics, not
Mm-hmm.
like traditionally, but
Yeah.
um like with movements and things, like you can still do a lot with just still pictures and stuff. It doesn't have to be moving.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's there's a it's about but it's about finding it's about doing it and finding the best way of doing it and doing it right, you know. Like it isn't I guess I'm trying to say it's not as easy as just drawing something up and just you do have to be intentional. But it's also not like limited, right? Um
Yeah.
So I want to go ahead and move on. So you kind of mentioned a lot like about the animation or the comic, the web comic is very influenced by shows like Gravity Falls and stuff like that. So what or who kind of inspired you? So whether that be a type of media or art or whether a person in your life,
Like what inspired me to make a comic?
yeah, kind of inspired your art and your art form, stuff like that.
Oh, my art. Oh, okay. Well, I guess to start with like who uh inspired me to make the comic in the first place. Um I have to say like that was my mom because
Mm-hmm.
um it was like when I was 13, I was having like such a hard time, like I was having a creative drought and
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
what to do about it. So I was talking to my mom about it and she just kind of told me, try a different angle and try making your own world.
Mm.
Try and see if you can do that. And if you can do that, then maybe that'll bring your creativity back. And I am
Yeah.
so glad that she recommended that because now uh, I feel more creative than ever, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
because I have my comic, but like I also have like so many other ideas for things that aren't Merlydia
Yeah.
that I would love to do in the future.
Yeah, of course.
Um, in terms of like art style, though, I got a lot of inspiration from shows like Steven Universe.
Great show.
I also my art style is also very inspired by Vibsy Pop, who's made shows like Has Been Hotel, Helva Boss,
Oh,
shows like
yeah.
those.
Has-Been's a good show.
And
That's a good show.
yeah, I feel like Has Been, despite it being like very different, like um, tone wise from Mortalidia,
Mm.
definitely had a lot of um, influence on it. Though, yeah, I do think like the main two inspirations for my art style would be like Rebecca Sugar and Vivian Medrano. So, and then like what inspired me to actually like make Moralidia into a comic. I was just like on YouTube one night and I was just scrolling and I found a creator named the Starfish Face
Mm.
and she had like a comic called Cast Off. Great comic, I recommend it. And
Okay.
um, I I was just like immediately in love with the comic. I love it. I'm still reading it to this day, and
Mm.
that's what kind of like launched me into wanting to make my own webcomic. So that's how Morlydia actually became a comic. Because if that never happened, then I would have sat on Morlydia probably for years, and it was just not gotten made.
Yeah, it would have just been an idea, and it's about
Yeah.
finding the motivation to bring it further than that. Yeah, I think those are all really good. First off, like Steven Universe, phenomenal show. I remember watching that one when it came out, and I mean, I'm sure you mentioned Adventure Time. I loved Gravity Falls. I mean, these are all
Yeah,
freaking
those are also
amazing
shows
shows.
like Gravity Falls definitely influenced my writing. Some other inspirations for Merlydia were definitely like shows like Adventure Time. There
Mm.
was also Amphibia, Owl House. I remember like
Yeah,
the only
Alice.
reason like um there's even like magic in the first place in Merlydia is just
Mm.
literally just because I thought the Palisman staffs in Owl House were cool.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason magic exists in More Lydia is just because I thought something was cool in another show. And that's what's so cool about like your series should be a bunch of inspirations throughout the years and should just be a cool amalgamation of all your inspiration. It's the
Yeah.
same with art styles too.
Yeah.
Like my art style is just a big amalgamation of like a bunch of different art styles and things I like in art.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think it's really cool that you're capitalizing on this idea that you've had and that you're not just kind of letting it die. You know, and it's glad that you got kind of you grew up on those things because now because regardless of like
I,
who watches
I
it,
actually didn't
but
grow up. I actually didn't like grow up watching a lot of like those cartoons.
really,
Uh, surprising. I watched maybe like one episode of Gravity Falls. I didn't watch. I didn't really watch any Cartoon Network when I was younger.
I
My parents
loved Cartoon Network, dude.
watched
That
it
was
on
my
YouTube.
home. I mean, that was
Yeah, the
great.
only show I really watched was like Gumball and Teen Titans Go, but that's it. I wasn't like, um, I never watched. I didn't watch other shows like Adventure Time or Steven Universe
Oh
or Gravity
man,
Falls until like I was like 13 or 14 or stuff. Like it took me a while to watch them.
Gumball is so good though. Like that's another great one.
Yes.
I loved that show. I would say
Originally, like
top
Pablo
five
was actually
top five Cartoon
Pablo
Network
was
shows is
really like
probably like Adventure Time, Regular Show, like Amazing World Gumball.
I
Uh,
thought that's the holy trinity right there of
yeah,
Cartoon
literally.
Network
I
shows.
mean, it's Steven Universe in there too, though.
Yeah.
That was kind of Steven
Um,
Universe came out kind of on the back end of when I was watching Cartoon Network, though, so I didn't watch that one as much. But
Steven Universe is really the one that made me want to have music in my comic or
yeah,
in more Lydia in the future. But Pablo was very in his character was very in or like his personality, I guess, was very inspired by like Gumball and Darwin.
mm-hmm.
I guess more Gumball. I guess more Gumball than Darwin,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I like the like kid that has like is literally scared of nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
I like those kind of characters.
yeah. I do like those
And
characters.
like Din and Pablo, like Din is like originally like he was just before I gave him the name of Din, he was just me originally when I was writing the comic. But
Yeah.
then because like he was just me when I was 13 is
Mm.
what I based him off of. And Pablo was me when I was 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I feel like when creating characters, I like to also base them off of like real people and also like Finn and Pablo. Since they're literally just me when I was younger.
Yeah. 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 No, I get that. That's a cool thing to write
So
about,
yeah,
though. It's inspiration, and it's not like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, I think that's perfect.
yeah.
Kind of taking inspiration from your own life. So let's see. What should I ask you next? How about what's kind of like your one piece that you've made that is like whether it be and it might be your comic, but would you say your comic is kind of like your favorite thing that you've made, or is there another something else?
Oh shoot, Merlydia is okay. To be honest, Merlydia is my favorite thing that I've made. I've made
Mm-hmm.
other or like I have other ideas for other things.
Yeah.
Like I have this whole comic idea for a Scooby Doo gang in the 80s, and then I have another one about a guardian angel helping a young girl that she was assigned to. But
Mm.
honestly, Morlydia really is just my passion project,
Yeah.
and it's if it's something I would have read or watched if it was animated when I
Yeah.
was young. It's
Um,
something I would have wanted to like.
would you say that it's kind of like a is there any people that kind of like reached out and been like, "Oh, I'm like been following along like with the comic and kind of any like little fans you've had kind of?"
Um, I will say this: my younger cousin Noah is definitely a fan of the comic. We both
Hmm.
he has
That's cool.
a fun little Dragon Ball comic. He runs on the same comic platform as me,
Oh, that's cool.
and and we both follow each other's comics and stuff. And then
Yeah.
like I have people who a bunch of my mutuals do follow my comic and stuff,
Hmm.
and have said, "Oh, I love this character. Oh, I love that." I haven't gotten fan art yet. I'm still waiting for that day to happen.
If I was good at art, I would make
But
you fan art. Okay. If I could
yeah.
if I could do that,
Though my little sister did draw Pablo once, and that made me very happy.
I that's awesome.
Oh shoot, I should probably talk about like the origins of Pablo since like he was the first character I made for
Yeah,
the
by all means, go
series,
ahead.
and I made him before like I even really even crossed my mind. Um, Pablo was just a doodle I made in a restaurant on a napkin on
Oh,
family vacation. I was like 12
okay.
years old. We were like in Panama City, Florida. And we went to Disney Springs for dinner one night. We went to
Mm-hmm.
Raglan Road,
Cool,
and
cool.
I was just doing napkin doodles and everything, and I just turned off my brain for a second and just drew Pablo. His original design is very similar to his current one, but
Hmm.
at the time, his eyes weren't round. They were like triangles, and like one
Hmm.
triangle was facing down, one triangle was facing up. I thought that was cool at the time. Now looking back, uh, it looked kind of weird, but
Hmm. Do you still have the
I
napkin?
think I was really proud that I had made something of my own.
Do you still have the napkin with Pablo on it?
Uh, no, I
Dang.
don't. Sadly,
Should have
I
kept
didn't
that.
keep it. I don't know. I should have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really cool though. That's kind of that'll be a cool story. So if you whenever you release the comic book on paper and you're showing it off at some library or something, you can be like, oh yeah. But you could have been like, here's the original napkin. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
oh well, it'll be
I'd love
okay.
to have I'd love to have like a Meridia art book one day, and
Yeah.
maybe like I can do a recreation of the napkin drawing
Yeah,
because
you
it's
should
still in my
just
head. I remember what it looked like. It's in
yeah.
my head forever.
Yeah. Doesn't I guess that's kind of
But
how art works though.
I I have no idea where it is. I think I threw it away. I don't know where it happened to.
Oh
I was,
no.
I was 12 years old at the time, so I didn't really know the impact that that doodle would have.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
shoot, man.
What about okay, yeah. What's kind of been the biggest difficulty in making this comic that you ran into?
um, I would say like motivation and
Yeah.
also just yeah, literally just motivation. That's it. Like
Mm-hmm.
there will be days when like I will know like I have to get this done. I have to do this because I gotta post a page tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like there'll be like times when I get art block and it sucks. But like what I'll do is like think, okay, well, I love these characters and stuff, and I want this to. If you here's the thing, if you really want something to happen, if you really want to make something, and you really want to make it like work, you
Mm-hmm.
have to like put your time and effort into it, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
just goes into anything, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that's the best way to motivate myself, other than just drawing the characters over and over and over again, just to get in that mind space, or writing or watching videos that get me excited to write or draw. uh, or just writing in general.
Mm.
Like that's like the best way I can say get motivated. Just
Yeah.
do things that motivated you to begin with.
Yeah, I think making some sort of like I think also to help motivation is just kind of being scheduled and being disciplined. So if you make a certain thing for yourself, it makes you feel obligated to try and do something. Of course, like if you just don't have any ideas, then you can't do anything about that. But if you have
Yeah.
some ideas and you just kind of forget about them and you're just kind of you don't have the motivation to go do something with it, then being scheduled and being disciplined can help you with that for sure. Kind of it's kind of what
Yeah.
I would say. So what does kind of art mean to you? Like, obviously you post on social media and stuff like that, but like is there like what's the end goal for you? You know?
Like okay, I think like this has been a mindset I've always had since I was little.
Mm.
And it's just the fact that I want to entertain people and
Yeah.
do some and show like people like something cool that I can do.
Mm.
And I guess I've always liked drawing and I've ever
Yeah.
since like watched I watched a lot of Disney movies growing up
Mm.
and I always liked the animation in them.
Yeah.
I watched Dumbo a lot when I was little and I thought like, oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
Um, and here when I was younger, I loved writing and
Yeah.
drawing.
Yeah.
I would draw in like sketchbooks and stuff, and I would draw at school.
Mm.
But I also in third grade, and I tell this story a lot to like a lot of people, but in third grade I had an assignment where my whole class had an assignment where we had to we had the start of a story and we had to finish it and stuff.
Mm.
And Um, it was basically just about like this kid who had like a lucky penny, and there was a bully character, and we had to resolve a conflict or something. And most people, would just like do that in one sit down
Mm.
and just
Yeah.
finish it immediately.
Mm.
I never finished mine.
Oh.
I went through that whole school year still working on it, and I would go up to my teacher after I'm done with like something I worked on or like during inside recess. I just go
Mm.
up to her and say, "Hey, can I work on the Lucky Penny story?" And she just be like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead, go get your laptop." I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And I'm so lucky to have had such a supportive teacher
Yeah.
because I would write that literally every day. I remember like one student just literally came up to me and it was just like, "Teacher, he's still writing." And stuff. So
Yeah.
I look back and think, oh wow, I was really committed to that, and I really love storytelling. And then like when I was younger, I also made comics a lot too.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's just I wanted to make something. I wanted to always like entertain people,
Yeah.
and I feel like I've accomplished that. And I feel like I still am going to like reaching that goal to accomplish that.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you
And
keep putting the effort.
yeah,
What
and
would
that's
you
really
kind of
it.
what would you kind of say about your community then? Like would because again, we kind of talked about this beforehand, but obviously like when it comes to social media and artists, it's very cool to see how quickly you can just form a community with other artists, and it's really cool because they're artists on like social media just they're very open to that to like making a community and stuff like that. And I guess I'm just curious as to how do you feel about your community? Like how has that impacted you and your art basically?
I feel like I've um I've made a lot of like mutual friends
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um and like they're really talented artists too, and
Yeah.
um, like they're so supportive and stuff
Mm.
too, and I'm supportive of them, and that's really the thing. Like we're both supportive of we're all supportive of each other,
Mm-hmm.
and that's I feel like that's what's so cool about artists is a lot of us are just like supportive people who just want to see what others can do,
Yeah,
and I
of
think that's
course.
really cool.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
like that's really just I feel like what my community, I guess, quote unquote. I don't really have a like community, I guess, of like a group of people, but I have people like I talk to and who we support each other.
Mm.
So I feel like that's like the closest thing I have.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think it's just really cool how all these artists just come together and like support each other and everything. And I think that's really cool.
Of course, yeah. I completely agree. I've been fascinated by it for a while, honestly. So here's kind of like a little off the beaten path type question that I've just now implemented. What would you say is a guilty pleasure piece of media or art that you enjoy that people might be shocked that you enjoy?
That's a good question. Um, hmm, I will say this. I think I do every. I like listening to a lot of music, but
Mm-hmm.
not specific music. Like I won't. There's not like a specific genre I like listening to,
Yeah.
but like just music. I like. Like I like any genre. I listen to. I like musicals. I like anything that
Okay.
has like musical elements in it. Like especially like TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And I definitely listen to a lot of movie scores. Here's the thing though, like also when it comes to music, music's just a big part of how art works for me because
Yeah.
it's a big inspiration for me
Mm.
because especially for like characters and stuff. Like I'll
Mm.
listen to a song and think, "Wow, this is a good song. How can I build a character off of this?" and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Take this
And that's how
vibe.
a lot of my characters were built off of. And
Yeah.
then I'll listen to a song later and I'll think, wow, this really works with this certain character I've made.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
like right now, there like with Pablo, like I was struggling to find a song that worked for him for a
Mm.
while. Like I would imagine like would define his personality. And that was until like I actually like watched the musical adventures of Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Mm.
And um, No Girl's Toy works so well for him to
Oh,
the
this,
point where I kind of want to make a full blown like animatic of him singing the song and stuff.
yeah. You totally should then.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've done that before with one of my other characters. Um, and it wasn't the full song because I didn't want to get copywritten. But
do you want to explain to
um,
people who might not know what an animatic is, what an animatic is?
oh shoot, yeah, of course. An animatic is basically just um the very rough like boards of an animate of like a animation
Mm. Okay. Oh,
that
okay.
convey the elements and emotions and like also the keyframes of
Mm.
like everything. And that's what an animatic is.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. I gotcha. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
some people do it on completely digitally. Some people do it with sticky notes.
Mm-hmm.
I know like regular shows pitch had a bunch of sticky notes
Hmm. Yeah, I've seen
for
that. Yeah.
like just yeah, I've seen like just videos of like the creator of the show giving the pitch, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
an entire wall just covered in sticky
It's
notes.
cool. It's really cool.
Yeah,
It's really cool. I didn't even know that the creator voiced as well in the show. I didn't even know that.
he voices a lot of the characters in the
Yeah.
show. Also, like this like question has come up for just me. A question I've had is
Mm.
just like if I were to voice one of my characters or like multiple of my characters, I don't know which character would I voice.
Mm.
And honestly, I think I would love to like voice Pablo or like I feel like Din. I feel like I should give to someone else because
Yeah.
while Din is he's just I want to see what someone else would do for that character. But
Yeah.
I would love voicing Pablo maybe. But also, I have another character that hasn't appeared in the comic yet, but I will say
Who?
will appear in the comic at some point. I have this character called Isaac, and he's basically just an eyeball demon.
Oh.
And uh, I don't know. I love voicing him too.
Yeah.
Like he's a fun character.
Yeah, I gotcha. Have you ever tried doing like musical theater or something like that? Maybe start exploring
I
that realm.
I do drama. I'm on the drama team at my for my youth group at my church, but I've
Cool.
never done musical theater.
Well,
I
maybe
might do it senior year at school, but I don't know.
you can
We'll see.
consider it for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Voice acting is also a thing I've always been like
yeah.
fascinated with.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Voice acting, you can do a lot of impressions too. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Well, my last question then for you, as we're kind of reaching our final minutes, what is a piece of advice you would give others in your comparable situation?
Okay. Here's the thing, like your first comic, um, you d- if you have this story and you want to tell it, like I definitely say go tell it
Mm,
immediately. Go, just go tell it. But
yeah.
also at the same time, just know that it's probably not gonna be your first, like your big, like magnum opus. Because here's the
Yeah.
thing, Merlidia is not my first comic. All right,
Mm.
my first comic series was when I was in elementary school, and it was a comic about an avocado superhero.
Hmm.
Okay,
That's cool.
now that was not the best comic, but here's the thing: I learned things from that comic, and I learned from my mistakes, and I'm still learning making mistakes
Mm.
um, while making more Lydia. But I'm just saying, like, if you have a story, do tell it, but just know that your first draft, I guess, will probably not work the best.
Mm.
But also at the same time, if you're like a struggling artist with like low motivation or just thinking, oh, my idea is not gonna work. These characters aren't even that good.
Mm.
Just tell your story, man. Just get it
Yeah.
out of your system. That's what I did, and honestly, I feel so good after doing that. Like, just get it out of your system. It doesn't matter. That's
Absolutely.
that's literally the best like advice with storytelling I can give and like comics and stuff. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have a goal, um, obviously, um, just know you might not um, make it, but just know that you can try. You can try, and there's a chance you can. I'm so lucky to have Morlydia um,
Mm.
as a comic that I can, as a creative outlet for me, where I can just dump all my crazy ideas,
Yeah. Yeah.
but also just go and tell your story if you want to.
Of
Will
course.
it be the next like big success? I don't know. Maybe not. But
Mm-hmm.
you never know. It could be, for
Absolutely.
all I know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for being on. This has been another interesting podcast. We're learning about different people and new things, and hopefully you can. If you want me to put you in contact with any other people who you might, you know, be interested in meeting, definitely let me know. And for the listeners, thank you guys for listening. And if you would like to check out some of Mauldin's stuff, he's got there'll be links in the description of wherever you're listening. He's got Instagram, YouTube. There's also the link to his webcomic, so definitely go check those out. And Is there anything else you'd like to say, Mauldin?
Nope, you basically said it all. Thanks for having me on, Tyler.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.